In a single quarter, Adobe generated nearly $3 billion in pure operating cash flow.
Yeah, which is just a staggering amount of cash.
It really is. And they saw an 800% spike in AI video generation across all their platforms. I mean, they fundamentally proved that they're, dominating the artificial intelligence race.
Yeah, at a scale that most companies literally can't even comprehend right now.
Exactly. And then right after announcing what is basically the absolute best quarter in the company's entire history, the CEO just looks at the microphone and says, I'm stepping down.
It's wild. It creates this massive contradiction,
Oh, for sure. Welcome to today's deep dive, everyone. I'm your host, and I'm here to welcome you, the learner, to our conversation.
And I'm the resident expert for today's deep dive. We are so conditioned by the market to expect leaders to just, cling to the reins until the wheels fall off.
Right, or until the board forcefully pushes them out the door.
Exactly. So stepping away voluntarily at the absolute apex of your company's market dominance. I mean, that goes against almost every instinct in corporate leadership.
It really does. So if you're looking at your own business's recurring revenue today, or if you're just trying to wrap your head around how AI is completely rewriting the rules of the internet, this source material is a massive wake-up call.
It absolutely is.
Today, we are dissecting the Adobe Q1 2026 earnings report and the call transcript for March 12, 2026. And our mission here is to unpack a historic transitional moment for a global tech giant.
Because we are looking at an organization attempting a massive high-wire act here. They're navigating a monumental leadership change while aggressively, re-architecting their entire monetization strategy.
Yeah, and building it all entirely around the artificial intelligence revolution.
Right.
So whether you are a product manager trying to figure out that really painful transition from freemium to premium models, or a marketer trying to understand this wild new concept of the agentic web.
Which we will definitely get into later.
Oh, yes, we will. Or, if you're just someone fascinated by the business of creativity, this deep dive provides a real-time playbook on surviving profound technological disruption.
A fascinating case study.
Okay, let's unpack this, starting with that bombshell that dropped right at the top of the earnings call.
Right. Shantanu Narayen stepping down after 18 years as CEO.
18 years?
Yeah. I mean, in the technology sector, an 18-year tenure isn't just a long time. It's like multiple geological eras.
Oh, totally. He actually noted on the call that this was his 100th earnings presentation.
Wow. Literally 100 quarters.
Think about the sheer volume of technological shifts he's had to navigate over that time. I mean, moving from boxed software you physically bought at a store.
Right, the old CD-ROMs.
Exactly, to cloud subscriptions and then mobile and now, obviously, generative AI.
And he is staying on his chair of the board to ensure a smooth transition over the coming months while they search for a successor, right?
Yeah, that's the plan. But I want to stick to that contradiction we started with because to understand why his departure is so shocking, we have to look at the financial snapshot of this Q1 report.
We do, because the scale of the numbers they reported is honestly difficult to fully process.
It is. So in Q1 alone, Adobe brought in $6.40 billion in revenue.
Which is huge.
Right. And if you strip away the noise of foreign exchange rates and currency fluctuations, what the report calls constant currency, that is an 11% real growth rate year over year.
For a company of that size, double-digit growth is phenomenal.
Crazy. And they reported a non-GAAP earnings per share of $6.06. That actually beat Wall Street's consensus expectations by 19 cents.
Which the street obviously loves.
Oh, they eat it up. And then there's that number I mentioned at the very beginning, $2.96 billion in operating cash flow in 90 days.
Right. If you're managing a P&L, generating that kind of cash isn't just a win, it's a fortress. It makes you untouchable.
Exactly. It's like a legendary sports coach retiring right after a perfect championship season. Why hand over the keys when the car is running perfectly? So I have to play devil's advocate here.
Look for it.
Couldn't he be stepping down because the transition to AI is actually going to crush their margins over the next 3 years? Maybe he wants to leave on a high note before the bill comes due.
Well, if we connect this to the bigger picture, the underlying strategy actually reveals something completely different.
Okay, tell me more.
So in the call, Narayen talks about his core operating philosophy being looking around the corner.
Right.
A legacy leader manages the current quarter's P&L, right? But a visionary leader architects the structural foundation for the next decade.
Oh, I see.
He's purposefully stepping aside only after hardwiring that exact foundation. The really heavy lifting of pivoting a $26 billion a year ship toward an AI-first infrastructure, it's already done.
So Launchpad is built, the rockets are fueled, but the actual, daily journey to Mars requires a different kind of operational grind.
True.
That makes a lot of sense on a macro level. But it brings us to the reality of that foundation. Because if AI is the bedrock for their next 10 years of revenue, we need to look past the top line billions and drill into the raw user data.
We do. And the metrics they shared regarding actual human behavior are pretty staggering.
Yeah, they are. Across their core suite, so that's Acrobat, Creative Cloud, Express, and their generative AI engine, Firefly, they surpassed 850 million monthly active users.
850 million people. The sheer volume of data being processed is unprecedented for a creative tool.
It really is. That is a 17% increase year over year. And what those users are actually doing with the AI, well, it's shifting dramatically.
Yeah, we are seeing this massive leap from novelty to actual utility.
What do you mean by that?
Well, the early days of generative AI were defined by, people generating a funny picture of a cat in a spacesuit, just playing around.
Right, totally.
But now it's being heavily embedded into complex professional workflows.
And the report quantifies that leap perfectly. Generative credit consumption, which are essentially the computing tokens users burn to generate AI content, that rose more than 45% just from the previous quarter.
That quarter-over-quarter growth is just massive.
And it's not just still images anymore. Video generation is up 8x year over year. Audio generation has doubled.
And as a direct result of that usage, Firefly's annual recurring revenue, its ARR, officially crossed the $250 million mark.
Right. $250 million in recurring revenue for a product category that literally didn't even exist a few years ago.
That's incredible.
But so what does this all mean? Because I want to push back again.
Sure.
They have 850 million users playing with AI, and Firefly is pulling in $250 million. But computing AI video at an 8x growth rate requires an astronomical amount of server power.
Oh, absolutely. The compute costs are huge.
Right. And in the same breath that they report these massive user numbers, management admits on the call that this rapid freemium growth is actually dampening their short-term ARR conversion.
Yes, they did flag that.
Are they just giving away the farm for free? Like, they are footing the server bill for hundreds of millions of people generating content for nothing. Is this a trap?
It looks like one, but it's actually the central paradox of Adobe's current strategy. And it's highly deliberate.
Deliberate how?
The report frames this as a phase shift. It is the freemium funnel operating at a scale we simply haven't seen before.
Okay.
They are using these highly capable free AI tools like the web and mobile versions of Express and Firefly as a sort of gravitational pull.
Drawing people in.
Exactly. They're
Yeah.
capturing millions of new users who historically would never, ever have paid for a complex professional desktop application like Photoshop.
I see how that works for user acquisition, driving record traffic to adobe.com, but the conversion math still seems super risky to me.
It's a long-term play.
It kind of reminds me of how an API rate limit works in software development.
Oh, that's a great comparison.
Right. A platform will give you just enough free API calls to let you build your entire application around their infrastructure. It feels great, it's free, you get super comfortable.
Yeah.
But the second your app goes viral, bam, you hit the cap. And at that point, your switching costs are way too high to rebuild on another platform, so you have absolutely no choice but to pay for the enterprise tier.
That is the exact mechanism at play here. As these new users get comfortable with the free generative tools, they start weaving them into their daily workflows.
Right, it becomes a habit.
And eventually, they hit a ceiling. They need to export in higher resolution, or they need complex vector editing, or crucially for businesses, they need enterprise-grade copyright indemnification.
Ah, so that is the moment they hit the paywall and actually convert to a premium Creative Cloud subscription.
Exactly. The massive influx of free users today waters down the percentage of paying customers in the immediate term, yeah. But it builds an exponentially larger pipeline for the future.
So it's a calculated sacrifice.
Classic long-term value strategy over short-term gain.
Okay, but there is a much more painful cost to this transition than just, waiting for free users to eventually pull out their credit card.
Oh, you mean the cannibalization?
Yes. The report highlights a second massive headwind, and it basically involves Adobe actively destroying their own products.
The cannibalization of the legacy business is a harsh reality of AI.
This stood out to me as the most brutal reality check in the entire transcript. So Adobe has a traditional standalone stock photo business.
Right.
And the CFO noted on the call that this is roughly a $450 million book of business, but that business declined steeper and much faster than their internal models even projected.
Yeah, that had to hurt.
Let's be real, watching $500 million evaporate because your own new free tool is eating it alive has to cause absolute panic in the boardroom.
I mean, naturally.
Because people aren't buying a licensed stock photo of a corporate meeting anymore, right? They are just asking Firefly to generate a bespoke one for free.
And see, most legacy companies facing that exact scenario, they panic. They try to ring-fence the old cash cow. They introduce artificial friction to the new technology.
Like intentionally making the AI worse.
Exactly. And as a result of that friction, a more nimble startup just comes in and eats their lunch. But Adobe's leadership is taking the exact opposite approach.
They are literally just letting it burn.
Well, they are strategically managing the burn. Their approach, as stated in the call, is to offer a combined meaningful choice.
Meaningful choice, okay.
Right. They are integrating high-quality, royalty-free, human stock photography and generative AI right next to each other within the exact same creative workflow.
Oh, I see.
They are adapting to user preferences rather than fighting them, letting the user's immediate need dictate the outcome.
So, like, if you need a hyper-specific, highly authentic photo of a real location, you buy the stock image.
Yep. But if you just need a generic, blurry office background, you generate it.
And they're willing to absorb the short-term hit on that $450 million stock business because the AI-first ARR, which they noted has more than tripled year over year, proves the replacement curve is actually working.
Exactly. The transition is painful, but it's happening on their terms.
Okay, so the freemium model works for the individual creator on their laptop, and the cannibalization is just a necessary evil. But an 850 million user base generates a terrifying amount of data.
Oh, an unbelievable amount.
Right. And to actually monetize that data at the highest possible margin, you really have to look at the people buying the infrastructure to process it, which is the enterprise sector.
And the infrastructure requirements for global brands right now are truly staggering.
To understand the sheer scale of the enterprise problem Adobe is solving, let's look at the ultimate stress test detailed in the report. The 2026 Super Bowl.
This was such a great example in the call.
It's wild. Adobe systems were powering the digital experiences behind the scenes for massive advertisers. During the game, their systems handled 8 billion analytics server hits.
8 billion.
Yeah.
In one night.
Right. That means they were tracking 8 billion individual actions clicks, bounce rates, cart additions, second-by-second drop-offs in real time.
Yeah.
They managed 21 million concurrent viewers on streaming platforms. 34 million page views. And they successfully delivered 216 million personalized emails.
Which means there is literally zero margin for error on the most expensive advertising stage on the planet.
I can't even imagine the stress of managing that.
Think about it. If a brand spends $10 million on a 30-second Super Bowl spot and their e-commerce landing page crashes the exact moment viewers try to buy the product.
The entire campaign is a catastrophic failure. Millions of dollars just wasted.
Exactly. So Adobe is essentially selling the digital concrete and steel that prevents that collapse.
And the enterprise market is writing massive checks for that concrete. The report notes that Adobe's enterprise tools, specifically the Adobe Experience Platform known as AEP and their Gen Studio product, they both grew over 30% year over year.
And achieving 30% growth on massive multi-year enterprise contracts is incredibly difficult to do.
It really is.
But what's fascinating here is the underlying catalyst driving that specific enterprise growth. It is directly tied to a fundamental shift in how human beings actually interact with the internet.
Okay, lay it on me.
The report refers to this paradigm shift as the rise of the agentic web.
The agentic web. I mean, that sounds like a concept from a sci-fi cyberpunk novel, but the earnings call literally treats it as a present-day reality.
Because it is.
Walk us through the mechanics of what the agentic web actually is, because I think a lot of people hearing that phrase are going to be scratching their heads.
Sure. So historically, the internet has been a very manual experience.
Right.
If you wanted to buy, say, a specific type of waterproof running jacket, you went to a search engine like Google, typed in keywords, and manually scrolled through a list of blue links.
Right, opening a bunch of tabs, comparing different brands' websites yourself.
Exactly. You did all the cognitive labor.
Yeah.
But in the agentic web, consumers are delegating that labor to large language models, systems like ChatGPT, Claude, or Gemini, and autonomous AI agents.
Oh.
You simply tell the AI, Find me the best waterproof running jacket under $100, and the AI agent scours the web, reads the reviews, compares the inventory, and in some cases, literally executes the purchase on your behalf.
So you're basically outsourcing your browsing to a bot.
Pretty much.
And the data in the report proves this is moving way past the early adopter phase. The call includes a really critical statistic from Adobe Digital Insights.
The holiday stat.
Yeah. During the 2025 holiday season, traffic to retail sites coming directly from large language models increased nearly 7x.
7x. That's a massive behavioral shift.
But it's not just the volume of traffic, it's the quality. Referrals driven by AI agents converted 31% higher and generated 254% more revenue per visit compared to traditional search traffic.
And that conversion spike happens because the AI agent only sends traffic when it has found exactly what the user is ready to buy.
Right, it's not just browsing.
No, it bypasses the window shopping phase entirely. It is the highest intent traffic imaginable.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though. If I am the chief marketing officer of a major retail brand, and I suddenly realize my customers are no longer using Google to find my products,
Right.
but instead they are dispatching AI chatbots to do their shopping, how do I guarantee my brand even exists in this new ecosystem?
That is the million-dollar question.
Because if the AI crawler doesn't understand my website, I am completely invisible to the end consumer.
That absolute terror of becoming invisible to AI agents is exactly the pain point Adobe is monetizing right now. They are providing the digital infrastructure to solve that very specific problem.
So what does that infrastructure actually look like under the hood? Like, what are they selling these terrified CMOs?
It connects directly to a strategic acquisition mentioned in the report, Adobe's pending Q2 purchase of a company called SEMrush.
Oh, SEMrush. They are huge in the SEO world.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Historically, SEMrush is a giant in the traditional search engine optimization space, helping brands rank higher on Google. But Adobe is integrating that capability with their new proprietary tools, specifically the Adobe LLM Optimizer and the Brand Concierge.
Wait, so if SEMrush does traditional SEO, Adobe is basically buying the old map to draw a completely new one?
Yes.
They're using SEMrush's historical keyword data to reverse engineer how large language models actually weigh brand importance.
That is exactly the mechanism. Enterprises are terrified, and Adobe is selling them the tools to optimize how their brands appear inside the black box of an LLM.
That's brilliant. So how does the LLM optimizer actually do that?
Well, it works by structuring a brand's metadata. When an AI like ChatGPT scrapes the web to answer a user's prompt, it isn't looking at the aesthetic design of a web page like a human does.
Right. It doesn't care about the pretty fonts or the layout.
Not at all. It is looking for highly structured data tags. Adobe's tool ensures a brand's product inventory, pricing, and specs are tagged in the exact semantic language that the AI's algorithm prioritizes.
So they are structuring the data specifically for machine consumption, not human consumption.
Exactly. And then the Brand Concierge tool takes it a step further.
What does that one do?
It allows businesses to configure custom AI agents on their own websites, to interface directly with the consumer, or, critically, to handshake with the consumer's own personal AI shopping bot.
Wow.
Yeah, to guide the transaction from exploration to purchase. Adobe has transitioned from just selling creative tools for human designers to basically selling the underlying architecture required to survive in an AI-driven commercial landscape.
We have covered a massive amount of ground today. Looking at all these pieces together, the Adobe Q1 2026 report is fundamentally a masterclass in how a legacy tech giant navigates total disruption.
It really is a textbook example.
First, they are willingly absorbing the massive server costs of 850 million users just to build the freemium funnel of the future. They are locking in users before they even realize they need a premium product.
Yep. And second, they're showing the ruthless discipline required to let their own bleeding-edge technology cannibalize their older, reliable revenue streams.
Like the stock photos.
Right. Watching a $450 million stock photo business bleed out because your free AI tools are vastly superior, that is treated as a feature of their strategy, not a bug.
And finally, they are pivoting their massive, highly profitable enterprise business to match the reality of the agentic web. They know that AI agents are the new primary shoppers,
Exactly.
and they are providing the world's biggest brands with the LLM optimization tools to ensure they don't simply vanish when consumers stop typing keywords into traditional search engines.
Which is so crucial. But, this raises an important question, one that builds on everything we've unpacked about these automated systems.
I'm intrigued. What is it?
Earlier, we discussed how platforms like GenStudio and Firefly Enterprise allow the world's largest brands to automatically generate massive amounts of personalized marketing variants in seconds.
Right, using their own private AI model.
Exactly. Brands are fully automating the creation of content.
They are pumping out millions of AI-generated ads basically on autopilot.
Right. But at the exact same time, as we just discussed with the agentic web, consumers are increasingly using AI agents to automate their browsing, their product comparison, and their shopping.
Oh, wow.
Consumers are fully automating the consumption of content.
I see exactly where you are going with this.
Are we rapidly approaching an internet where AI marketing campaigns generated entirely by corporate machines are simply being broadcast out into the void to be read, evaluated, and clicked on by consumer AI shopping bots?
It's literally just machines marketing to machines.
Exactly.
A human is entirely removed from the middle of the transaction.
What happens to the human experience when the entire commerce loop, from the initial creation of the advertisement to the final decision to purchase the product, is a closed loop of automated systems just talking to each other?
That is a staggering thought to leave on. It's a completely new paradigm for how the internet functions.
It really is.
And honestly, it really makes you realize why a leader might look at that incredibly complex, entirely automated landscape, look at the $6.4 billion championship quarter they just delivered, and decide it's the perfect moment to step away and let someone else navigate the machine-to-machine future.
Can't really blame them.
Not at all. Thank you for joining us on this Deep Dive Learner. Keep questioning the systems around you, keep learning, and we'll see you next time.